What's up, guys? How are you? It's time for a Tuesday morning episode of the Daily Juice Podcast. My name is Matt Perrault. You guys can follow me across all of my socials at Sports Talk Matt. And unfortunately, the 6-day winning streak came to a close. I was concerned that the game could go against us. If we got it really wrong, it was going to be a losing day, and that is what happened. Seattle covers. They get there for us. That was the only win. The Bucks got housed. We came nowhere near 46.5 or 52.5. The injury to Mike Evans was brutal. That is really bad news for our bet on the Bucks to win the division. That was an injury that, thank goodness they have Ibuka and thank goodness they have Baker, but my gosh, that's a brutal injury to break his clavicle. He is gone for the rest of the regular season. How much of the playoffs, if the Bucks make it, would he be a part of? We don't know, but that is not an injury you just come back from. That is a highly painful injury. The concussion was bad enough for Mike Evans, but really a bummer for one of the great wideouts in the history of the NFL to have his 1,000-yard streak end and really his season end on a play like that. That's really unfortunate for Mike Evans. So bad news for the Bucks there. We go 1-2 on the day. We are down 1.35 units, so we start the week off down, but we had a very good week last week, so let's pick it back up. Welcome back to the NBA. So if you were with us last year, you know how this goes. The NBA has been extremely profitable for us with the prop bet cheat sheet. We have been dominant, I even would say, with NBA prop betting over the last couple of years, thanks largely in part to the prop bet cheat sheet. We've told you about BettingPros Premium for a while. This is where I pull the bets from for the prop bet cheat sheet, and it's been last year, just to give you an idea, in 2024 for us, we wound up 84-72 for the year in 2024. That's 54%. In 2025, this year, in the NBA, so it's last season, but heading into this year, we wound up going 45-31. That's 59%. And the NBA prop bets went 66-34. That is 66%. So we are basically 60% hitting in the NBA in 24 and 25. This has been the sport that has been the most profitable for this podcast over the last 18 months. More than that, really, 20 months. So now we go back to the NBA. So it's an all-NBA podcast today. I've got 3 NBA futures for win totals to give you, and I have got 2 plays on the 2 games happening tonight in the NBA. I got nothing on hockey. Florida and Brad Marchand playing at Boston. That number's 160. It's really expensive. I don't really want to get involved with that, but Florida in regulation is probably a pretty good bet against the Bruins, given what Boston has looked like. But the total is 5.5, and you know the Bruins are going to be up when they see Marchand. So that's the only real fun hockey game for tonight. And baseball, obviously not starting yet. Congrats to the Blue Jays making it to the World Series. George Springer with that 3-run home run in the 8th or 7th inning. Unbelievable. First time since 1993. The Blue Jays are back into the World Series. 93 is also the last time a Canadian team won the Stanley Cup. So 93 is a big number, a big year for Canada. So we'll see how things go, but I don't like the chances for the Blue Jays. As I told you, I wasn't all excited about this World Series because it feels like a formality. I don't think the Blue Jays have much of a shot. Hey, been wrong before, but don't think they have much of a shot here up against this juggernaut that is the LA Dodgers. Before we get into the picks, let's remind you about our friends at Hard Rock Bet. It is NBA action. Opening night, Hard Rock Bet, the presenting sponsor of the Daily Juice podcast, which means now it's time to shoot your shot on Hard Rock Bet, your home for hoops action all season long. Need a little help for your first bet? Check out the streaks heating up inside the Hard Rock Bet Stats Hub. You can find live odds to bet on all of the streaks that are going on. The Warriors have won and covered the spread in 7 straight games as a road favorite against the Western Conference. The Thunder have won 6 in a row at home, also against the Western Conference. If you haven't tried your first bet on Hard Rock Bet, there's still time for you to get $150 in bonus bets. If you win, just place a $5 bet, and if it hits, you not only get your winnings, but $150 in extra bonus bets. Plus, all week long on Hard Rock Bet, you can get an NBA parlay boost for the games. There's new promos every day. Boost your same game parlay or SGP Max so your bets pay extra winnings. There's new promos every day. There's always something to bet on. You can bet on everything from football and baseball to table tennis. Yes, you get the promos for table tennis. Download the Hard Rock Bet and make your first deposit. Let's talk futures here for the NBA. I'm betting the over on the Boston Celtics 41.5. Not just because I'm wearing a Celtics championship hat, not just because I'm a homer, but because I believe in Joe Mazzulla. I am a big, big believer in him as a head coach. We talked about this going into different seasons, like when I was talking about the Bruins or I was talking about the Cardinals in baseball. There's just certain franchises that I am not going to bet the under when the total is really low, in particular around 500 or worse. The Boston Celtics have Jaylen Brown. The Boston Celtics are going to get Jason Tatum back. And I've made this prediction that he will play before Easter. He will be playing with the Boston Celtics. In fact, it's not going to surprise me if Jason Tatum is back by St. Patrick's Day, playing for the Boston Celtics. The injury that he suffered was brutal, but the surgery has taken. He is already on the basketball court. He is already working out. It's October. You're telling me that 5 or 6 months from now, Jason Tatum is not going to play for the Boston Celtics in the NBA? Sorry, don't buy it. I also think that Jaylen Brown can be an effective number one. I also think that Peyton Pritchard and other players can step up. The loss of Al Horford stinks from a leadership standpoint. I don't love that, but I do think Boston's going to be better than a 500 basketball team, even without the wonderful, amazing Jason Tatum. And the reason will be defense. I think Joe Mazzulla is going to mug people this year. I think Boston's going to be one of the most physical teams in the NBA, and Joe Mazzulla is going to let loose on this defensive effort. Unders in Celtics games are going to be an absolute cash cow, okay? Boston is going to lock down. They're also not going to score a ton themselves, okay? But I expect a tremendous defensive effort out of this Celtics team that's going to be much different than the three-point shooting loving NBA that everyone plays this up-tempo jacking threes. I think Joe Mazzulla is going to go and walk into this fight with a club and start swinging at people. Over Celtics 41.5 team total win. I think they wind up winning 44, 45, heck, maybe even 50 games, depending on how things shake out for the Boston Celtics. Now, the Lakers play tonight. The Lakers are going to be without LeBron James. The question is going to be how long? For how long would they be without LeBron James? 47.5 is the win total for the LA Lakers. At some point, this all comes to a crashing end. I fully understand that JJ Redick has a team that will be built around Luka Doncic, who looks like he's in the best shape of his life, which is great, okay? But if LeBron can't be anywhere close to being a Robin, let alone a sidekick, let alone a leader, let alone a Batman for his roster, if he's 40 and the age just catches up with him and he looked tired at the end of last year, if it's just too much for him, this Western Conference is no joke. OKC is not going to rest. The Denver Nuggets are going to be good, like really good. The Rockets are going to be great. I mean, the Western Conference is so incredibly deep at the moment. The Thunder could very well go and win 65 games. The Rockets could win 60 games. The Nuggets could win 55. The Clippers will be in the conversation like they always are. The Timberwolves will still be really good. I like the Warriors more than most people. The Dallas Mavericks are not going to be bad. The Dallas Mavericks and Cooper Flag could be right there competing for a playoff spot and maybe even getting out of the play-in tournament. Like, this is going to be a very difficult season. And the Lakers went 50-32 last year, mostly thanks to their home record, where they went 31-10 last year at Staples Crypto, whatever the hell they're calling that building now. I'm just not a believer. I'm just not a believer that they're going to be a team that, look, 47.5 wins. That means they win 48, 49, 50 wins. I don't think they're going to be as good as last year. I just don't. DeAndre Ayton coming over, okay. I mean, I'm not impressed. I'm not until I see it. I don't believe it with DeAndre Ayton. I just don't think the Lakers are going to be nearly as good as people think. Plus, you have load management with LeBron and Luka. It's just about getting into the playoffs. Give me the under. I'm going under 47.5 wins for the LA Lakers here going up into the season. And finally, the Orlando Magic. I'm a believer. I'm a believer in Orlando. Look, this franchise hasn't won 52 or more games in forever. They've only done it 4 times in their history. And Shaq was a big part of all those teams. Orlando last year went 500, 41-41. They were 22-19 at home. They were 19-22 on the road. They had basically a flat point differential, 0.1 point differential. They were one of the worst three-point shooting teams that we have seen in a long time. But this is Banchero, this is Wagner, this is Bane. This is a team that should step up and really take a nice step forward. Look, I like where the Magic are. I like the efficiency that they have on offense, and I really like their defense. I like defensive teams this year because no one really is paying defense, okay? No one is stepping up, and no one's playing hard-nosed defense. And Desmond Bane, back to his Memphis Grizzlies days, he's a hard-nosed defensive player. Paulo Banchero and Franz Wagner have got to be the 2 best players on this roster, and they have to stay healthy. But if they do, Bane's shooting should help, and I think defensively they're going to be a really big problem, okay? This is a team that had so many injuries that derailed their upcoming trek through the playoffs, and yet they still were a team that were a problem, and they still pushed Boston in the playoffs. I just think this is going to be a great season in Orlando, and we might be seeing one of the emergence of a new power in the Eastern Conference in the Orlando Magic. I'm betting the over on Orlando. I'm a believer. Over 50.5 wins for the Orlando Magic. So 3 season-long plays in the NBA. Celtics over 41.5 wins. Lakers under 47.5 wins. And the Orlando Magic over 50.5 wins. Before I give you the plays for tonight on opening night, and there are 2 games to talk about here tonight in the NBA, let's talk about our friends at Omaha Steaks. If you guys have not checked out what Omaha Steaks has going on, these guys have really, really cornered the market on high-quality food in hand, in your freezer, fast. Look, I have a young daughter. Dinner time is always somewhat of a stressful situation. What am I going to make? How do I do it? It's awesome to have Omaha Steaks in the freezer, whether it be the hamburgers, the steaks, whatever it might be, the pork chops, chicken, whatever you got, it's there. It's available. You defrost it, and you're good to go. The burgers don't even need to be defrosted. You just chuck them on the grill, and away we go. Omaha Steaks offers unrivaled quality and variety, and every bite is backed by their 100% guarantee. Omaha Steaks has been America's original butcher since 1917. And right now, during the early Black Friday sale, get 50% off site-wide and an extra 20% off select favorites at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners of the Daily Juice get an extra $35 off with the promo code JUICE at checkout. See terms, see site for details. Save big with Omaha Steaks. Go to omahasteaks.com. 50% off site-wide, an extra 20% off selected favorites during their early Black Friday sale. And for an extra $35 off, use that promo code JUICE at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com. Promo code JUICE at checkout. So the Thunder are at home against the Rockets, and I really like the Rockets. I do. Kevin Durant going over there. Really like the Rockets. Here's the thing. It's banner night in Oklahoma City. I started watching the Netflix show Starting 5 last night, and it's a really cool look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA, reigning MVP, and what makes him go, what makes him tick. The Thunder were pretty much every home game. They were 7.5 point favorites. Like it was just like rinse and repeat 7.5 because the professionals, they don't like betting more than 7 because it's 3 possessions. And so you start going, well, that's more than 3 possessions. That's, 3 threes or, 2 threes in a bucket. They don't like 3 possessions. So that number gives them pause. The Thunder last year were 35-17 at home against the spread at home. They killed people at home. They were a team that, look, as a moneyline favorite, they were tremendous. They were favored in 79 of 82 games last year. They went 66-13 in those games. Incredible. When they were a moneyline favorite of minus 294 or shorter last year, they were 44-8 straight up, 85% of the time. So at home with a big number, new season, I got you, but they win this game. The Thunder win this game. Now, do they win this game by 7.5, 8, 9, 10 points? Yeah, because I think what they do in the fourth quarter is ridiculous. I do think that will carry over. I do think that's consistent as to what they do when they play. And early in the year last year, the Thunder were just taking people apart. And I think on banner night, I can't fade these guys. I don't like laying 7.5 points. I just think the Thunder are going to be the Thunder, but without Fred VanVleet, that's a huge loss to them. I need to get used to who the point guard is going to be for this team. All the leadership that VanVleet had last year with Ime Udoka, those two guys were just on the same level. They were so good together. So I do think there's going to be some of a feeling out process coming up here. Jalen Williams is not playing for the Thunder. That's a big loss as well. But SGA is playing. The size of the Rockets, they're going to be one of the biggest teams in the NBA, and that's going to be problematic for anybody. But let's see what Kevin Durant looks like in game 1. And him and SGA, they have a great relationship. You see it on the starting 5. Like they talk to each other. Obviously, this is OKC, where Kevin Durant started his NBA career, where ultimately, and there's some great stuff on the show about how James Harden was traded away when it was Harden, Westbrook, and Durant, and how all 3 of them are still pissed off that trade happened, that shouldn't have been what the case. They should have kept going. They've gone to 3 straight deep runs in the postseason, not winning a championship, but they thought that 4th year was going to be the charm. I'll lay it. It's not comfortable. It's not a comfortable lay, but I'll lay it. 7.5. Thunder against the Rockets at minus 7.5. To the late game, I told you I don't like the Lakers. And in night number 1, I don't like the Lakers. The Warriors are going into this season where I love the addition of Al Horford. I love that Jimmy Butler has a whole season now with the Warriors. I do think that Steph Curry continues to play at a very high level. I still think Draymond Green's going to be good. I think Jonathan Kuminga can keep on developing here for this roster, and they have Steve Kerr, okay? I think the Warriors are going to be better than people think, and they got hot at the end of last year. If you remember, the Warriors ended up with a 48-34 record last year. That is somewhat surprising when you stop and think about it. The Warriors' win total for this coming season is 47.5, pretty much what they did last year. So they were in the play-in tournament, but if they keep rolling with the way they roll at the end of last year, they won 7 of their last 10 games. They just recovered after a very bad start. They were great once they acquired Jimmy Butler. Things changed. Now they have Jimmy Butler for an entire season. The Lakers do not have LeBron James. I mean, who are they going to play? Bronny? Come on. I don't like this matchup at all. I like the Warriors laying 2 points here. It's basically just a money line play to take the Warriors. Give me the Warriors -2 for 1.1 units. So plays for today for us. Celtics over 41.5 wins. Lakers under 47.5 wins. Magic over 50.5 wins. You can bet those as much as you want. Officially, we just take it for 1 unit to win a unit. So up to you on how much you want to lay down. Thunder -7.5 for 1.1 units, and the Warriors -2 on the road against the Lakers for 1.1 units. My name is Matt Perrault. You guys can follow me across all my socials at Sports Talk Matt every morning, even when the NBA is back. It is the Daily Juice Podcast.